Hello class, this is Demetrius Wilson with BA 156. We're now on to Chapter 13, Business Communication for Success, Presentations to Inform. So you present for a lot of different reasons, depending upon the situation, but a lot of times you present or do a presentation to inform individuals of something specific, something about your company, something about yourself, all kind of different reasons that you present to inform. So that's what Chapter 13 is all about. Very important that you know and understand how to present to inform. So the learning objectives for Chapter 13 are: describe the functions of speech to inform, explain the difference between exposition and interpretation, provide examples of 4 main types of speech to inform, articulate and demonstrate an audience-centered perspective, right? You want to center around your audience, especially if you already know who that audience is. Provide and demonstrate examples of ways to facilitate active listening. That means that you're not thinking about doing your laundry or what you need to pick up or anything like that. You want to be actively listening and engaged. Or you want your audience to be actively listening and engaged. Define the concepts of multiple intelligences. Remember, we have different sides of our brain that help us to do different things and learning styles. And identify different types of intelligence and learning styles that audience members may have. Everybody doesn't learn the same way. Some people learn hands-on. Some people are very auditory learners. If you know a little bit about your audience, your group, that's very helpful. Discuss and provide examples of ways to incorporate ethics in a speech, right? You don't want to take the right side or the left side. You want to kind of be neutral in terms of, what you're providing your speech. Construct an effective speech to inform. Discuss the parts of an informational presentation, and understand the 5 parts of any presentation. That's the very last slide. Very crucial that you pause on that slide. Learn that like the back of your hand, because it's very important, not only in this class, but will be important in the future as well. So functions of informative presentation: to share content and information with an audience. I want to share these things with you. You need to be informed of these things that I'm going to present. Increase the audience's understanding. So I want you to understand what my company does, what I can do for your company, things of that nature. Help the audience change their perceptions. Like maybe your perception is A and I want to change it to B. And to help the audience members gain skills. Maybe I want to present to inform you on how to do a process. And once I teach you how to do the process, then you go out and do it. So exposition versus interpretation, it's right there for you. Public exhibition or display, right? Often expressing a complex topic in a way that makes the relationships and content clear. A lot of times things are not very clear because they're very complex, and you as a SME or SME or a subject matter expert, as they call them, can explain them in a more detailed version that will help people understand and be able to use your product, be able to create your product, all kind of different things. But you as a subject matter expert can take that, translate it, and make it easier, more palatable for the people listening to your presentation. Interpretation, adapting the information to communicate a message, perspective, or agenda, right? And the key word is adapting. You want to adapt, I won't say change, but you want to alter certain things in ways that, again, also are more palatable to your audience. And the message makes more sense in terms of whatever agenda you have at that time. Suggestions to present a neutral speech. So remember, I talked about being like right down the middle, neutral, not to the right, not to the left. Keep your language neutral and not very positive for some issues while very negative for others. People can really know and understand when you're just hanging a little bit too much to this side and you're not very neutral. People can always see that. Keep your sources credible and not from biased organizations, and that's very, very important. You want to have credible sources. Keep your presentation balanced, so that just means the same thing, stay down the middle of the road. Keep your audience in mind, so keep in mind who you're speaking with. Diversity in your speech will have more to offer everyone. You want to touch on all the different groups in the crowd. Keep who you represent in mind. Is it your business? Is it yourself? Is it both, right? And a lot of times, especially like for me, it's definitely both. So there are different types of informative speeches. Explanation, you can do a report, you can have a description, demonstration, like I'm showing you, hey, this is how you would use this product. And unless you know how to use this product, you're not going to purchase it. So I get on my infomercial and I show you how to use the product, and then you possibly purchase it. Additional types of informative presentations, so biographical information, right? So if you're going through talking about someone or something, case study results. A lot of times in business law, a lot of times we use those case study results in terms of case studies about cases. Then you also have case study results about like, say, if you were testing a product, and then you have your results from the test. Did 10 people out of the 10, did 10 like it, or did they dislike it? And then we find out that 7 liked it. These are the reasons why, and 3 disliked it, and these are the reasons why. So we look at our study results. Comparative advantage results. Remember, comparative advantage is the advantage that you or a company or someone might have in a situation, and you want to exploit those comparative advantages. Cost benefit analysis results. Oftentimes a little bit too much on the side of doing very good cost benefit analyses that say, hey, this is how much it's going to cost. This is my benefit. Should I pull the trigger and go right, or should I go left? And those are very, very helpful. You can use a pros and cons list, pluses and negatives. These are good. These are bad things. But cost benefit analysis will definitely, help you in the long run. And feasibility studies. Is this feasible? Is this something that we can do? A lot of times in business, if you're doing construction projects or stuff like that, will it get done in this time? You want to do some type of feasibility study. Field study results, financial trends analysis. Obviously, see how things are going crazy. We're going crazy. Not this week, but the prior week in the stock market. So you want to look at financial trend analyses as well. Health and safety and accident rates, construction guidelines, laboratory results, product and service orientations, progress reports, research results, technical specifications. Those are different types of informative presentations. Adapting your presentation to teach. You have to motivate your listener. If you don't motivate your listener, they'll be falling asleep. Hopefully you're not falling asleep right now, right? So we want to make sure that they're engaged. A lot of times it's different. Obviously we're speaking over a video, but a lot of times people are very engaged when you're in front of them in the classroom. You can ask people questions. You learn their name. You get more interactive, and it really helps. So and it helps to know how to motivate your listener. Make your topic relevant for your audience. So if it's not relevant, then they'll either get up and leave or just kind of tune you out. Like I said, start thinking about their laundry and what else they have to do. Provide information which the audience is not already aware of. When that light bulb goes off, ding, like they'll definitely pay more attention to you. Share your interest level in the topic with your audience. So they need to know and understand what is your interest level. What is your knowledge level in terms of the topic. Consider ways you can actively show application of your material or content, and consider ways to reinforce the novelty of your material to your audience. Like, what are ways I can continue to rehash the main message that I want to come across to everyone? Have variety in your speech, right? You don't want to just be the same, like talk like Ben Stein, just like in a straight monotone way. You want to have these, peaks and valleys where it gets people excited, take them up, take them down, but you have to have some type of variety in your speech, from your voice, all the way to your visual aids. And do not exaggerate the importance of your topic. Everybody thinks like, oh, what I'm speaking about is just so important. Well, don't over exaggerate it. This is, what the topic is. Frame your information in meaningful ways. You have agenda, good thing is to set an agenda. I know I had some problems at a company before where I was like, I'll just see how this plays out. And we had a meeting every Friday, and I would go in, and then the meeting was just like a session where they were just saying all the things that were wrong. And so I kind of changed up the format, and I set an agenda, and I said, okay, anything that you tell me from Monday through Thursday, we're going to work to resolve that prior to the Friday meeting. And then when we get to the Friday meeting, we're only going to go off of the things that I have on the agenda, and those are things that are going to improve. So don't save the things that you have that are bad all the way till the Friday meeting so you can just get up there and talk about it. I want you to bring them to me when they happen so I can go ahead and fix them. Design your presentation to appeal to diverse learning styles, right? So you need to be able to appeal to everybody. Additional tips, and these tips are great. Limit the number of details, focus on clear main points, pace yourself carefully, right? You don't get up there and get out of breath, and that's always embarrassing. Speak with concern for clarity. Use restatement and repetition, right? Repetition, so they know and understand the main things that you're referring to. Provide visual reinforcement, pictures worth 1,000 words. Include time for questions, right? So you don't want to just get, if they have an hour and I get just right to 59, then I know I'm not going to get any questions. But you do want to leave time for questions because if one person has a question, the other people might as well. And look for ways to involve listeners actively, right? Like nodding their head, like asking them questions, getting their feedback, and going from there. So additional tips that you should definitely utilize. And then assess the learning, right? You want to ask questions after you're done and you've done your conclusion and get a little mini feedback to see if what you were trying to relay to them, if they got it, if it's stuck in their brain. And these are diverse learning styles and strategies. So what I want you to do, as always, I want you to pause this slide and I want you to look at the learning styles on this slide. I want you to look at the examples and then the strategies, right? So for example, logical / mathematical, right? 1 + 1 is always 2, right? That's a definite, it's definitive. So the use of numbers, perceiving relationships, reasoning. So you have sequential, deductive, inductive, computation. So problem solving, graphic organizers, classifying, working with patterns and relationships. So that's just very, very cut and dry. Linguistic, obviously, you can take, it can be some gray areas. You can take things one way or you can take them the other. But I want you to look at all of these learning styles, look at the examples, and then look at the different strategies that there are set in place for each one of these learning styles. Preparing your informative speech. I want you to start with what you know, right? So you need to be speaking about things that you know about. Consider your audience's prior knowledge. If everybody knows 1 + 1 is 2, then it's no need for me to say it. But if I'm not 100% sure that they do, then, I might want to hold off and just get through it quickly. Minimize the use of jargon and technical terms. I don't want to talk about things that are just specific to my industry or things that, normal people would not know about. But people do that all the time. They talk, sound like Confucius because they're only talking about things that within their company they know and understand. And maybe you being an outsider, you don't. When using external information, give credit to the sources, right? So you always want to give credit where credit's due. Don't make it seem like it's something that you actually created. And present information ethically, right? You want to do the right thing in terms of presenting information, and you'll present it ethically. Like I said, you want to stay right down the middle of the road. You don't want to veer right. You don't want to veer left. You just want to always do the right thing. So in terms of presenting information ethically, remember about reciprocity, mutuality, getting people involved and engaged, non-judgmentalism, right? You don't want to be, so judgmental in your speech. You want to be honest. You want to show respect to your audience, and you want to gain their trust. Get them to come back and to trust you, even if you are not the one who messed up the trust, and avoid exploitation. Presentation components and their functions. So these next two slides are very, very important. So pay close attention to them. Press pause. Make sure that you learn them and know them also like the back of your hand, back of the right hand and the back of your left hand. So you have your component and then you have your function. So attention statement raises interest and motivates the listeners, right? Oh, this is what we're talking about. I'm motivated by that. Introduction, communicate a point of common ground. And so you want to lead them and say, hey, this is what we're about to talk about. The body addresses the key points. The conclusion summarizes the key points and gets their brain thinking back to the body so they can connect the dots there. And then your residual message communicates central theme, moral of the story, or main point. So I want you to pause on this one, check out the components, check out the functions of those components. And then you have your sample speech guideline, which I told you at the very end of the presentation. But this is great, right? It's going to give you what each thing means, and then how you're going to implement that in what you do. So your topic, obviously that's the easiest one. Choose a product or service that interests you, right? So you want to find something that interests you, research it, and report your findings in your speech, right? So you want to find something that interests you, research it, and then report your findings in the speech that goes out to. I mean, it could be 2 people, it could be 500 people. So then your purpose, your general purpose, of course, is to inform. Right, so you need to know and understand and read the rest for section 2. Section 3 is your audience. Think about what your audience might already know. Could save you some time. Supporting materials, use visual aids. You see that they have that in bold because visual aids, like I say, 1,000 pictures worth 1,000 words. They're always very, very helpful. And then organization, write a central idea statement that expresses the message or point that you hope to get across to your listeners in the speech. Right, you want to make sure. Did I accomplish these things or did you not? And hopefully, ideally, you did accomplish those things. And this is just a continuation from this page. So this one up to 5, and this one goes up to 8. So you have your introduction, develop an opening that will, and these are the 3 things that you need to do for an introduction. You need to get the attention and interest of your listeners. You need to express your central idea or message, and you need to lead into the body of your speech. Remember, we talked about the transitions last chapter. Then you go to your conclusion, and then your delivery. Speech should be delivered not reading, but speaking. Like if you get up and you talk, talk about something, you kind of get into it and you get engaged, but you don't want to just, get up there and just flatline and just read it. You need to have something else to say in terms of the topic. Speaking notes and not reading from a manuscript. That's always helpful, less robotic. Work on maximum eye contact, so you're looking at different people. Or if you have, kind of got the stage fright, just look over the horizon. You write over top of everybody's heads, and then everybody thinks that you're looking at them, give them great eye contact, then you're really not. So introduction, your conclusion, your delivery. Be sure to pause on this one because these are very, very important as well. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have 6, 7, 8 on this slide. And so that's it for chapter 13. Make sure these are very, very important that you're not going to have a pop quiz. And I was saying, but you should really memorize 1 through 8 in terms of sample speech guidelines, because it'll be very helpful for you, not just for this class, but for your other classes. People say, wow, that's great. You did a great speech, great presentation. And these are some very simple things that can help you that sometimes people just kind of glean over and don't think about. So that's it for chapter 13. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to email me. And make sure that you take any quizzes, tests, assignments that are due in this chapter after you watch the lecture and do your reading, and are good to go from there. All right. So as always, hope you have a good day and a great week.